Welcome to the mid-month newsletter of March. I can't believe it's the middle of March. I believe it is actually St. Patty's Day right now. My kid, my oldest, threw up all afternoon, and I didn't get to this earlier. I really wanted to take a video outside with my kids because it's been so beautiful today. And this is actually uh, a little bit of a step into the last newsletter. Unraveling a lot of these kind of belief systems is something that I love to do ad nauseum for myself, but also for others. And it's really important because when I was doing our workshops this week, we had two completely different crowds, right? The unraveling neurodevelopmental disorders largely didn't have any real acumen in natural health. Admittedly, I asked, if they did, and they didn't. Secondarily, the vaccine workshop had a lot of parents who had a lot of acumen with regard to natural health, and I was talking to them about how these statistics with our kids, right? These 54% of our kids with chronic illnesses, 1 in 6 with neurodevelopmental disorders, 1 in 8 with anxiety disorders, 1 in 4 with requires special need in public school. And why is this important is because when I asked both crowds that have different health presentations, different health awarenesses, both of them came back to me and said, when I asked them, is it worse if this study is from 2012, 2011, is it better or worse now? Unequivocally, reflexively, no question, no hesitation. They all said it was worse now. Why is this important? Is we have more resources, more doctors, more drugs, more vaccines. We have more pharma. We have more industry. We have more of the system, and we have increasing of our health and demise. And so it's typically not always, which we will always result to, is our behaviors and our actions. Our behaviors and actions will always be limited and are only sustainable to the degree that we have aligned belief systems. And so unraveling old belief systems on how we actually are literally, biologically directed and spiritually ordained for radical self healing. That is what nature does. Um, we don't really believe that. And we don't believe it for many reasons because of brainwashing and psychological operations and those types of things, but we don't believe it largely because we didn't actually inspire it in it wasn't inspired in us, and it wasn't something that we are at the place where we recognize we are supposed to be passing this down to our children and into our future generations ad nauseum. This is important because if we don't unravel our belief systems, then it doesn't matter what we instill as habits over time. They start to dissipate, dilute, and dissolve. And if they do that, then we lose, right? Then we actually become a part of the system by default. And there's no exit to the system, right? Once you're in the system, there's nothing in the system that helps you need it less. And the only way out of the system is to be so healthy and vibrant that you never need it. And you still might need it because accidents happen, right? Because injuries happen and because all sorts of things happen. You might need it, and we should be humble to it. And we should be grateful for the system that is the best in the world at saving lives, but we don't necessarily need to go back to the fire department after the fire is out. The analogy, right? Medicine is the fire department. If you've never heard that before, it's really important. When firefighters are called to a fire, what do they bring? They bring their axes and fire hoses. They bring their surgeries and their drugs. But after they're successful at putting the fire out, you never call the fire department back to rebuild the home, right? You don't call the fire department to be a contractor. You don't bring the fire department to put in your electricity. You don't bring the fire department to put in your plumbing. This is really important because if we don't understand that the fire department is something that we use for the fire and we don't need them when it's otherwise, right? That if we don't continually bring in the people that help us rebuild and regenerate and rejuvenate our bodies and our minds and our souls, then unfortunately we will default to the system. And in the end, it is a belief system. And it is a belief system we have to instill and impart in our in our current generation, but in our future generations, and make it a radical part of your family values. Because everybody I know today knows somebody in the world that is sicker than they're supposed to be, and they know that they could have prevented it at some point in their lives. And largely, I don't see those categories being more important than the vaccine workshop and the Unraveling Neurodevelopmental Disorders workshop. And I felt like it was just really present to me that the urgency and the importance, right? The urgency and the importance of doing the work in our minds now and embodying health in a way that is so emulatable by your kids that it just becomes normal for them. But speaking into them and leading them from that place, not with coercion, not with manipulation, not with what the medical system does, but with inspiration, but with true, like unconditional love, with curiosity and Socratic reasoning, but a lot of conviction and a lot of commitment and a consistency and a love for them. Do that, because if you don't, who will? And if we don't do it now, how big is it, the responsibility? How much bigger is the responsibility is it going to be for them? I genuinely love and appreciate the fact that you made it this far in this video, and I hope you read the blog, because I think it's going to be equally as valuable. And I hope to continue to do that for you, our community, and I hope you continually take it on, because this is a mission bigger than I even know. And I know that I am a leader in it, but I also know that I am just a dad and a doc, right? And apparently a podcast host. Love and appreciate you all, guys.